Hello. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. I think we're live. Okay, everybody. Hi, this is Susie Quillen from Perfectly Naughty, and I am so glad if you're joining me live here today or if you are watching the replay. I am going to be showing you today, in this video anyway, part one, preparing your lace knitting to ladder down a section and reknit. I have a section of 7 stitches where I found an error about 8 rows back. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And we're also going to talk about why our lifeline is so important. This is a perfect example of why our lifeline is so crucial. So get prepared. Takes you to follow along with it step by step. I'm going to go really slow, and I think you're going to find it really beneficial. Excuse me. I will do this section, and then in the next video, I'm going to actually start the laddering down process because when I teach this really, really slow, I can't do it in just a short 15-minute video to do all of it, right? And I really want you to get the most and the best benefit from these teachings. You get to learn from my mistakes and my errors as I teach you how I find them and fix them and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around and get all of that adjusted. I hope everyone is doing well. Don't forget to head over to perfectlynaughty.com and subscribe to the newsletter. Ooh, sorry about that. I didn't get. Are um, you knitting or crocheting things for the holidays? I'd love to hear about that. And chime in over on Instagram or Facebook if you like. All right, so here, right here where I have this stitch mark is where the error is. I've marked that with a removable marker so I can make sure I can keep track of where it is. I have 2 double-pointed knitting needles that are the same size as my project needles. I have a crochet hook, a small crochet hook. Every knitter should have a crochet hook. And I have some point protectors. You'll notice on this project that where my error is, I have 2 sleeves on my circular needles, right? And this error is over here. And in order to ladder these down, I've got to get those off of the needle, right? And my points are way over here, and there's a lot of stitches. So this is what we're going to do. I am going to, when I look at this, the shortest end is this one over here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to slip all of these stitches up to here onto the other end of the circular needle. So these ones are open and active. So we're going to do that. This is, and I mean, this is a little bit rudimentary, but I also think that I also just really wanted to be able to show you step by step by step. When we're slipping stitches, we always slip as if we are purling, unless your instructions say otherwise. And I'm just going to very quickly slide all of these over from the left to the right until I get over to that. And sometimes if you hold them right, you can kind of get the needle under multiple stitches at the same time. Sometimes, not always. It doesn't always work that way. And there's also just something beautifully rhythmic and soothing about just one stitch at a time sliding over. You could make your choice on that. So I got 2 there. This is a little different camera setup today. Where's my stitch marker? So I'm going to get to right here. So I have 2 more sections. This is a little bit different camera setup for me today. As you know, I am always experimenting, trying to make the way that I record these videos better, easier, whatever, however you want to say that. And I'm going to slip the stitch marker over, by the way. Okay, and so this right here is the section I'm working on. There's my marker. This is the section that I'm going to be working on. So I am going to put my stitch marker back on that tried to get away. All right, now I'm going to take a point protector, and I'm going to put that on here. So that makes sure that while I'm moving all of this stuff around, I don't accidentally drop these stitches and make my problem even worse. Okay, now we're going to turn it back around because I was slipping. In this particular case, I had to slip over to these stitches from the purl side. Okay, so now here I am at these stitches, and this is where I want you to take a deep breath. Let's get my light over a little closer here. There we go. This is where I want you to take a deep breath with me, okay, and not panic. Okay, this part might be a little bit scary for some of you, but we're going to be brave. I have a lifeline in. You'll see this. This is exactly why we have a lifeline, okay? Exactly why. I'm going to take all 7 of these stitches that need to be fixed, and I'm going to slide them off. And they're going to start to unravel, but that's okay. I'm going to take this point protector, and I'm going to put it on the end of this circular needle right here so that these stitches don't fall off and make my problem worse. And to get all this up out of the way, I'm just going to kind of pull this all up here so it's more out of my way. Okay. Now, I don't need this marker anymore because I know where the error is. I'm actually going to ladder all the way down to this lifeline so I can show you why your lifeline is so important. So I'm going to take this removable marker out, and I'm going to take all 7 of these stitches, and I'm going to very gently and slow. Always do these things gently and slowly, because if you pull quickly, especially with a yarn that has a fuzz or halo, an animal fiber, it can felt to itself, which is very, very frustrating when that happens. Okay, we don't want that. And we're just going to row by row pull all of this out. And you see, okay, we got all of this. Let's get these, see if we can get these out of the way a little bit more. And you've got to just keep very gently lifting, and they're going to redistribute the yarn on the stitches on the rows on either side. Don't worry about that. That is all going to balance out later. Just going to keep unraveling these and get all these up here. All right. Does this scare you? Does this make you nervous? Does it? And you think, oh my God, how am I going to get all those loops back up where they belong? And it might feel just a little overwhelming. There's that one. And you can see there's my lifeline coming up right there. There's one more. There we go. Now I'm down to my lifeline. All right. So then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches. Can you see those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches sitting right there on that lifeline. These stitches absolutely cannot drop any further than this. And this right here is why we have lifelines. This is why we do that. I'm going to actually see if we can lower the camera a little bit to see if we can get in a little bit closer so you get an even better view of what we're doing here. There we go. All right, can you see? So now I've got all of this loopy spaghetti stuff up here, and I've got these. Let me get my pointer. We've got all of these 7 stitches right here on the lifeline. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause right here, and I am going to take a picture of that with my regular camera. See, here's my camera. And I'm just going to take a quick little picture of that because I'm going to also be creating a blog post about this. And I want to be able to create some nice graphics for you guys for some additional stuff. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we are going to pick up the stitches that are on the lifeline. our work up, and let's see if I can get this up here for you a little bit. So here's the first one right here. Can we see that? Right there. Slide that back on. There's the next one. Do not worry if these are sitting correctly on your needle, whether they're, don't worry about that part. We will turn them around. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are all stitches that are ready for the knit side because I ran my Lifeline through my work after I did the purl row. Okay, so now let's see if we can pick this back up a little bit. This just feels like I'm not able to get the right angle for you here. Oh my goodness. Sometimes knitting is like this. Who remembers the movie Edward Scissorhands? Sometimes it feels like that. All right, now I've got all of these loops right here, and it's really important that you keep track of what order you're doing these loops in, because if you work them out of order, you're gonna not be happy about that. So here's the top one, and you'll have to reorder them a little bit every row or so just to make sure they don't kind of get switched back. But can you see that as I go? That guy's right down there. Use your double pointed needle to help you get them straight. See here where that one is? Oh, it was actually down here because see, it's connected here. So I'm going to lift that one forward because that's the one we're going to use first. And this is the next one right here. You can see where it's coming out of the next row over here, and it's connecting to the next row over here. So we're going to kind of get these up out of the way. We're going to work with this loop right here. All right, so here we go. This is what's going to happen. I have this row that needs to be knit is, it is knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, pass 1, knit 1, pass it over, and knit 1. These are kind of sitting funky, but we're going to fix these as we go, and then the rest of them will not be such a problem. Oops, I lost the one I'm working on. There we go. There's my thing. I'm going to hold that in my left hand. If you are a thrower, not a picker, this is an opportunity for you to practice that. You can do it by throwing. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm a thrower. You've seen me knit. Okay, I'm going to knit 1. You always, if you're a thrower and you're trying to do this, please make sure that you're wrapping your yarn around the way that you always do. Then I'm going to do my knit 1, going to knit 2 together. It's a little bit awkward. There's no joke about that. Yarn over, knit 1, yarn over. See, I'm just holding that loop over here. Yarn over. This one gets slipped. This one is sitting backwards, so I'm going to pick it up and put it back on the needle the right way, and then I'm going to knit it. Hold on, I got something tangled up here. Oh, there it is. There's my yarn over. That's what that was. So now I want to knit this one. I will tell you, when you're doing this, not working around a tripod, it's a lot easier. There's my yarn over right here, so I'm going to kind of scooch that out of the way. This is the stitch that I slipped, and I'm going to lift it over, and I'm going to hold that there so I don't accidentally pull it off, because your space to move around is a little bit different here. Oh, and I only got part of it. Darn it. There we go. So 2, 4. Okay, got all my stitches, and then we're going to knit this last one. Now this is where that crochet hook that I probably threw on the floor. Nope, there it is. Okay, there is the last little bit, and I can tell This is that last little bit of for this row because it's coming out of my stitch right here, but I ended up letting go of it. So if you put it on your crochet hook, and now I've entered into here. Now I can, ooh, okay, here we go. My goodness. See, this is what happens, and this is why working on a surface is so helpful. But I'm working right at the edge of my table, so my things are kind of falling off. Okay, I'm into the stitch, and I need to knit it, and I've got the loop I need to use to knit it on this crochet hook so that I can put it here. Oh, and I just dropped my needle, but that's okay because everything's here. So I'm going to, in order to get this loop through this loop, I'm just going to basically, like we did with the pass the slip over, and do that. All right. Wow, you guys, isn't that crazy? Now let's see. Oh, my knitting needle fell way far away. Let's see if I can get it. It actually fell in my trash can, my waste can. At least it was right next to me. All right. Wow, that seems like a lot, doesn't it? It's a lot when I'm sitting here step by step by step walking you through it. Um, it really is, but it's not as dramatic. And I guess I lied because I thought I was going to show you just how to prep for that, and apparently I'm just doing the whole thing. All right, so now I've got my 7 stitches, and these are the ones that are in my lace pattern, and they need, if I was knitting back and forth in rows, this is where I would purl. But what we're going to do instead is I'm just going to slide these stitches over to here. I'm going to look at these loops back here, and I'm going to find the one that is my next row up. I thought it was this one, but upon further looking, because you have to look at both ends, upon further looking, there we go. I found it. All right, there's that. And then I'm going to just, now this back, I'm just going to knit across. Kind of, you know, in a similar way that when you are working in the round, you don't have to purl, right? So then these just get knit across. Okay, got this on my finger over here, so that, and there we go. And because there was an error, there might be some issues with a little bit extra sloppiness, but don't worry about it. Okay, your gauge might be a little bit different, your tension, I should say, might be a little bit different when you are knitting these stitches that you're attempting to correct. I'm going to adjust this camera just a little bit more. Maybe that will help me not be quite so, there we go, quite so on the edge. All right, but you might be holding your yarn and your needles a little bit tighter than you would because you're nervous, okay? So don't worry about it. It will all work out when you block it. All right, now this next row is a lace knit row. And let's find that. That looks like it. We're going to kind of pick this up and look at that. Yeah, that end. Yeah, that's the next one. Okay, so now we have another lace knit to do. Just slide this back over to here. This one is to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3, yarn over, knit, slip, knit, pass. Okay, here we go. You ready? So I'm going to knit 2 together. See how I'm just holding that. See what happens if I were to show you what it would look like if I was throwing. Now I know I need to knit 1 and then wrap that around. See, and you want to be really careful in this that you're not pulling on that loop yarn, but you do want to keep track of it. Knit 1, knit 2, now it's getting shorter, so that it gets a little bit harder to do it, the throwing method. That's why I've learned to do it this way. All right, knit 3, and keeping track of that with my finger over there. Now I need a yarn over, And I need to slip this one and knit this one and pass this one over. And it is a little bit awkward. I mean, there's no joke about that. All right. Then I can open this up. See if we can stretch this open a little bit. Take a look at what we got. Oh, yeah. See, I corrected. Haha. All right. Now we're going to knit across these 7 stitches. So we'll slide them back over here. Well, before I slide them, let's do this. Let's look for the, you know, and then the other thing I could have done is I could have put this whole other sleeve off on, or this one I'm working on, I could have put on straight needles or another circular needle. You can also do this part in the middle here with a short circular needle. All right, so when I hold these out now, you can kind of see, can you see how they're all coming off their respective rows? So this one is my next one. Untangle, make sure it's not twisted around any of these other ones. Okay, then we're going to just, this row needs to just be knit across because it would be a return purl row. Okay. You know, I only want one finger holding this loop right here, otherwise I'm going to put too much tension on it. And that will stretch it out even more than it already is. And for this particular pattern that I'm doing, it is designed with yarns that have a tendency to relax and stretch out of their own accord. And so we don't want to add any additional stretching to that. All right. Yes, we are on track. That makes me happy. All right. Now we're going to do the next. I'm going to open this up and get the next loop that was laddered down, the next ladder rung. This is, again, this one's going to be a lace row. And I know that because here's these 2 holes from the yarn overs, and there's the next set. So I know I'm back where I am. If you are having trouble keeping track of that, refer to your pattern. Use a sticky note to help you keep track. There's lots of ways to do that. So now we're back to the knit 1, knit 2 together combination. So we're going to knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, and slip this one. We're going to knit this one. We're going to pass this one over, but I'm going to hold that, make sure it doesn't get away. And then we're going to knit this last one, but again, let go of my loop. There it is over there. So now I just need to get that loop up on. I'm in my stitch to knit it. Now I need this loop to pass it through, and then I can knit it off. Oh, wow. All right. You know what? I would challenge you to do this on purpose. Not in a project where it matters, okay? Practice this on something that doesn't matter. Knit a scarf, and then put a lifeline in, and if it isn't quite right, then it works out okay. I'm noticing that my connectivity is a little bit weak, and I keep popping in and out, and I apologize for that. Okay, we just did the lace stitches. Now we're going to knit across. So this video, and we might be wrapping it up because, all right, I really want to get this done, you guys, and back on the needle where it belongs. And it's a good idea to count to make sure you have the right number of stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, I have my 7 stitches. I have 3 more rows to go. But because my connectivity is breaking up, I'm going to go ahead and pause and we'll wrap this up, okay? After I've gotten all of these knit back on, I'm going to transfer them all back on to either this, probably onto this. I will transfer them back onto this right-hand side of my knitting needle, and then it is not difficult to get your work switched around. So if you've never done this before, please make sure that your two sleeves are on separate needles that you're working with, because it's really too easy to get them mixed up, and then your rows are going to be off count and your direction could be off count, and then you're going to have a whole nother litany of things. So separate the two onto different needles, and then slip your stitches so that you're at the ones you need to work. Ladder them down. If you do not have a lifeline, you need to ladder very, very carefully and slowly. This yarn has some alpaca in it, so it's not going to, I'm going to turn this light off. Wow, let's push that down. So this yarn, because it has some alpaca in it, it's not going to just run down. But if you are doing something like this on a really slippery yarn, you're going to have to be a little extra careful to not allow your stitches to just run down like a run in your pantyhose. Don't want that happening at all. But if it's got an animal fiber or some acrylic in it where it's got a little fuzz, it'll hold on to each other if you're going very slow. If you have it protected, you have it set on a table, maybe a table with a little bit of cotton cloth underneath your work, so it helps to keep it from sliding. So, all right, folks, there you go. Those are my basic tips on laddering down. I hope you're having an excellent day, and I hope to see you over on the newsletter. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Click the little bell so you get notified. And sign up for the newsletter over at perfectlyknotty.com. This yarn I'm using, by the way, is called Cambria, and it's a beautiful yarn. It's an alpaca linen blend, and I just love it. All right, love you. Good luck. Can't wait to see what you're making. Don't forget, if you bought your yarn at Perfectly Knotty, head over to perfectlyknotty.com/bragboard and enter your picture so that I can feature you on the website and in social media. Bye-bye.